Okay, we are back at it with Oakley. He is getting a Springer pet trim. His owners want him to look as close as possible to a proper show Springer, but without dealing with the full hand stripping routine and all of that. So he is neutered. He is not a breed standard conformation dog. He's backyard bred, got a lot of frizzy coat, but his owners like the furnishings, like the Springer look, but don't want to deal with stripping him out regularly. So what we're going to do in him is we're going to do him in a pet trim, which is supposed to look very similar to a show trim when it's done, but without all the extra work involved. All the prep work has been done on him. He's bathed, he's dried, nails are trimmed, all the tangles he might have had are removed. There are a few things with him. We don't do traditional Springer ears on him. His owners like his ears left long, and we don't take him super short anywhere like a show Springer would be. Normally a show Springer, top of the head is really pretty tight. We go pretty tight through here, but we're going to do more of a similar pet look without all the extra work involved. So once they are completely brushed out, one thing you can do that will save you a lot of time, a lot of effort, and we did a video of this in the tub too, is use an undercoat rake to rake out the dead hair before we start clipping into it. So we're going to start with that. Take your rake it through just where the pattern lines are. So down the back, our thighs are going to be nice and tight. So we're raking all the way down this thigh. Shoulder is nice and tight, side of the neck is nice and tight. So we're going to rake through all of this, all the way down to our elbow, and just pull it off the body. I'm not going around like this. I'm just going straight off the body where these furnishings are going to be. And you can see we're getting a lot of dead coat out. So just do this everywhere that your jacket is, and that's the term for this area. The short area is the jacket. So use the proper terminology on them. And then get all of this raked out really good. All the way down to the elbows again on this side, straight off our rib cage. And then all the way through this side. On a Springer, whether you're doing a show trim or a pet trim, it does not matter. You should not, when you look at the dog when they're done, you should see no hair sticking out beside the dog anywhere. You look at them from the top, all you see is dog. You look at them from the front, all you see is dog. You don't see this skirt poofing out, nothing like that. You look at them from the rear, all you see is the dog. You don't see all of this hair sticking out. So that's the goal we're going for. The Springers are not cockers. They don't have a skirt way up here. They don't have, really it's not called a skirt at all. All of this is called furnishings. And they should blend seamlessly into the body no matter what you are doing. Whether it's a pet trim or a show trim, you shouldn't be able to tell where the furnishings start. It should all be a nice, fluid, easy line. We're going to use on him, we're going to do a one guard on his jacket. So we're going to use the wide guards. He's a big dog. And we're going to start here behind our ear and take this guard. The entire shoulder is tight. We're not coming into this area. This is our bib. We are not going to deal with that yet. Right now we're just setting our jacket pattern. All the way down to our elbow on our front leg. This should all be gone. We don't need any hair up here. Straight down our jacket. All the way. And then on our sides, we are going to take this guard straight off the widest part of our body. There should be nothing hanging out. And I'm skimming this down to blend in with this line here. You see our elbow is way down here. but his abdomen is way up here. You can sort of see. Ideally, if you were a properly put together Springer, this would drop all the way to the elbow. It doesn't. We're about 2 inches above. So we're going to try and get the illusion that he's got a nice deep chest with our grooming. So we're going to drop this all the way off the widest part of our body. Make sure there are no lines visible. And it's going to be pretty level with our elbow, but I'm not taking these guards and going around like that. I want it straight down. He's in good shape. He's not an overweight Springer. If you have an overweight Springer, you might have to make some adjustments. They do have a tendency to get fat. And we're bringing this all the way back. This entire thigh, take it off. They don't need it. Anything that sticks out past the dog, take it away. So all of this, gone. Get rid of it. Back here, we're gonna go straight off our tail. He's got all of this floof on his tail. Get rid of it. They don't need a flag tail unless they are undocked. Straight off the sides of the tail as well. Get rid of all of this hair. With our guard comb and our tail, we're going to create a little shelf back here. We're going to take our guard comb about 1 blade width, or you can feel their little bone back here. This area from the bone up to the tail, short. Everything below that is part of our pants. So take part of that off, and then here we're going to wrap this around. The only hair that we leave is on this butt. Anything that's on the side of this leg goes. So we're going to also use our blades here to blend this. We don't want it obvious, the line. We want it all gone. We're just going to keep going over this, skimming off some of this fluffy junk here, get rid of it all. And then just keep going through and go over it a couple times. Big thing on these guys, we don't shave a sanitary. All of this hair under here is left. If you shave a sanitary on these guys, you get rid of this coat right here. They need all of this. It comes from the underside to create this outline. So do not shave anything on these bellies unless you absolutely have to. We will shave under the tail with a 10, but that's the only sanitary we really do on these sporting dogs. So again, think of when you look at the dog from the top, none of this hair should be sticking out. Okay, so we got that side set in. We're gonna spin him and do the exact same thing on the other side. So same thing over here that we did on the other side. Start up behind our ears. Get rid of all this stuff. Inside of our neck. Leave that front all the way down to our elbow. And this is a really quick, easy trim if you prep the coat right. If you get rid of the undercoat when you're bathing and before you start clipping, you can do this trim pretty quickly. Same thing here. Straight down my thigh, get rid of all this extra junk here. And then just pull these clippers straight down our rib cage. And get rid of all this stuff that's poking out when you look at the dog from the top. And then all the way to our elbow here. And roll this back here where everything that's left is on this butt and not on this. You don't start it up here, you start it back here on the back of this back leg. And I'm just pulling this straight off the side of the dog. He's got a couple cowlicks right through here that make it a little more difficult. He's a pet, doesn't matter. Blend it the best you can, but don't stress over things you can't control like goofy cowlicks. All right, same thing back here. We did on the other side. Nice and short to the bones, right there. So we've got him pretty well just trimmed in his pattern here. We're gonna do his front end real quick. Stay. So we're gonna take this just down the outside of our shoulder and go ahead and do, depending on the owner and what they want, generally, easy buddy. Generally, I do the top of the head the same length as whatever I'm doing on the body when I'm doing a pet trim. So I'm gonna take this one, and we're gonna go just the top of a head here and blend it into our neck. Easy way to do that, tuck the head down. Don't try and deal with all the wrinkles while their head is up. Normally, ears are gonna be clippered, his are not, so we're just blending into the tops of these ears as much as he'll let us. Easy buddy. So we're gonna pick up our head, stand him up again, and we're gonna do our chest and neck real quick and set in his bib on his front end. He's really thin coated up here, so I'm gonna do a 7 or a 4 reverse on his bib. And so to set your bib in, you're gonna stand the dog as square as you can. You're gonna find their breastbone, which his is right here, 3 to 4 fingers, depending on the dog. I'm gonna set his at about 4. His owners like some extra hair. So we're gonna set his a smidge higher. So 4 fingers above the breastbone, so my line's gonna be right there. So you can do this on my show springers. I do this with a 10 against the grain. Him, like I say, he's a little thinner coated up here, so I'm doing a 4 against the grain. Come all the way up, easy, to the underside of their neck. We're gonna go all the way over to these cowlicks on the side with whatever blade we're doing under here. You can see it's kind of a U shape. It's not a point like a poodle. It's a lot more rounded out, which is true for a lot of things on springers. Everything on them is pretty well going to be called round. Okay, so then we're going to set in the sides of our neck. So I've got the 7. I'm going to pick up his ear, and then we clipper it over to this cowlick. But I'm going to take from the back side of his ear, and I'm going to blend in this side of his neck. So I'm using my 7 and just kind of skimming it on the side here. And you can see it's a pretty distinct line right now, but I'm gonna come back and still work on that. You shouldn't have any lines visible, and that includes on the sides of his neck. It should all be blended in pretty well. So what you do on one side, you do on the other. Pull this up, and then shave from the back of your ear. And if your ears were trimmed in traditional Springer ear, all of this would be short, but his aren't. So back of your ear down this cowlick line to help start blending it. And then again, we're going to pick up his head. Oakley. Easy. He's a little skitsy, obviously. So you just do what you can do. So I'm going to pick up his ear here. I'm going to take this 7 or 10, whatever you're using, get the side of this head done. Easy. Same thing on this side. Go this whole cheek under my ear and get rid of all this extra stuff here. Good boy. Good. stick up his head. And then we're gonna blend in the side of this a little more. Easiest way to blend is gonna be with your guard combs, especially on a dog like him who's not gonna sit there and let you thinning shear every little bitty hair. So I've put a 1 length shorter on my guard combs. So this is a 2 now. And I'm gonna come in and kind of curve this on the sides of his neck to help blend this in to where we did the 1 on his jacket. And you can take this also down your short areas. With these guys and all your sporting dogs, you're trying to show off the muscling of this dog. It should be well muscled here and here. So that's why these areas are gonna be quite a bit tighter on show dogs. And so now we're gonna do the same thing on this side. We're gonna take this 2 along this clipper line here. And then a little bit just down our shoulder. Tighten up our shoulder just a bit. This bib is all in front of the dog. So we're gonna leave that there to give the illusion that he's got a nice big chest. He doesn't, but we're gonna try and fake it. We're gonna take this 2 here where we did some work with the 1 minute ago and go a little tighter right here. It's not a lot, but it makes a big difference. And we're also gonna go a little tighter on our thigh. So show off some of that muscling on this dog. And I'm not taking this all the way down, I'm just skimming it on the thigh muscle itself here and on the shoulder muscle. Not going into my jacket at all. And I'm not going up here. I'm literally just doing my thigh and my shoulder with this. And then using it to blend my neck. I'm leaving this triangle up here to make the dog look like it's kind of nice top line. Again, he doesn't, but we're faking it. So we've gone over his jacket once with our guard combs. We're gonna take our rake again and rake him out again. You'll get more coat out now. You don't have all that extra length there. We're gonna rake through into our furnishings to blend. Get that line looking nice and blended, not obvious. Do our shoulder, everything. And you can see we're still getting a lot of coat out with this rake, even though we've used it now. This is our 3rd time. And that's partly because he's a neutered dog, it's partly because he's fluffy, and it's partly because he's a liver dog. So rake him out one more time. If you have a dog with a lot of hair, you can do both the fine and the coarse rake, and it'll get out even more hair. So the one we're using is the coarse. So now we're going to come back over in one more time with our 1 guard and do the exact same thing that we did earlier. Make sure we come down and blend in those furnishings here on his belly. So we're not getting much hair off of this now. Pretty basic. Get rid of these wrinkles, pull the hair out. So now we're going to do some work with our 10 blade. We're going to do under our tail.